If you've watched me for a while, you know that one of my favorite things to eat on top of everything is PICO, and we're gonna make that today, but normally I do it with a knife, which is very therapeutic and I love it, but I've got this other device here that I wanna show you, the Breville Sous Chef 16 peel and dice, so I'll show you how I use that to make the PICO process much faster. Check it out. Hey everybody, this is Dylan. Yes, I love to use my knife to chop. It's super therapeutic, but sometimes you just want to make a huge batch of PICO along with all your other food prep that you're doing, and you want to just get it done quickly. Since this is my first video where I'm actually talking and showing you this device, I wanted to just sort of introduce it to you really quickly, and we'll get right to chopping because I know that's the whole point here. But this is pretty much just a regular food processor. You got your nice big bowl, the lid with the plunger, the chute and everything in there. So it's all pretty normal, nice, bulky motor. You can see that this thing is very high class and it is not going to be falling apart. This is a device that I think will last many, many years. But what sets this monster apart is it comes with a lot of devices. In addition to the regular bowl, it's got this bowl that you can nest inside for smaller batches. And with that, it comes with a little tiny S-blade for the little bowl and the regular S-blade. These are all standard attachments. Most food processors come with a slicer, or I guess this is a shredder. But this one's cool because it has two sizes. Most food processors don't come with two sizes of shredding blades, and this one you can flip over and hit both sides. Most do have some sort of a slicer. Here's the slicer though. It's got this adjustable knob on the bottom, and you can actually change the thickness of the slices that you want to get with this blade. So that is pretty cool. But in addition to all that, what is awesome is there is this Julienne blade, which is going to slice things up really small. You can use this for, a julienne for any kind of veggie, but I tried it so far just with doing potatoes and making shoestring fries with that attachment. And then there's the regular one that they call the French fry attachment, which makes bigger fries. Awesome to just get potatoes done, throw them in your air fryer, and have some fries. So if you get the Sous Chef 16, that is the normal set of attachments that come with it. But if you pay a little extra, you get the Sous Chef peel and dice, and that comes with a few other items. This is a potato peeler. Yes, you can put a bunch of potatoes into the food processor with this, and it will just gradually peel off the outside by bouncing the potatoes around. It's pretty interesting. But where this thing is really awesome is that it can dice in one single action. So you've got this slicing blade, but then everything is pushed through this grill here, and it actually will dice everything up into perfect little squares that are this size. This is the 12 millimeter attachment that comes with the peel and dice. One bummer though that I learned only after I got the machine is that it only came with the one size of dicer. So in order to get this two more sizes of dicing, you had to pay even more money, which is a real bummer because this is already a pretty expensive machine. But now with this upgrade, I've got a bigger, this is a 16 millimeter, and then I've also got the smaller one, which is 8, which I really wanted for PICO because that the one I just showed you earlier that came with the machine is the 12, and it's a little bit big for things like dicing up jalapenos for PICO. I want smaller chunks, so I'm going to show you what you can do with these other two attachments as well. So first things first, we need to prep a few items. There's a little bit of chopping that we're still going to have to do. For example, there's still this stem end on the tomato, and there are a couple ways. You've seen me in my other videos. I'll take the top and the bottom off, and then I'll core out this wet center because I like my PICO to be mostly chunky and dry, and I like to get some of the wet core out. So I can still do this, and then we can send this piece down the food processor to be diced up. Or you can just go easy, don't worry about the wetness thing, and we'll just take this top off and we'll send this entire tomato down the food processor. So I'll show you both with and without the core, and we'll see what we like better because I actually haven't done it with these Roma tomatoes. With the jalapenos, I've always taken the end off, cut it lengthwise, and then I've used my paring knife to take out the spicy seeds of this kind of core here. Just like that. And then I would send these 2 pieces down the food processor to be diced. Again though, if you don't want to go through the process of taking the guts out of every single one of your jalapenos, because that's too much knife work when you're going to be using the machine anyway, then you could use a couple jalapenos where you haven't taken the cores out, so they're super spicy, and then you can use some mild chilies like this one. This is just like a regular New Mexico chili. It's really not that spicy, but you could just take the end off, pull out this core and seeds, and then I could take this entire, see this is pretty much cored out now, but I could take this entire thing and send it down the food processor just as is. And so you could do a mix of mild and spicy peppers, so that's one option. If I was going to do all jalapenos, I would still want to core them because otherwise it's just going to be too spicy. With our red onion, all we got to do is get the skin off, so that's pretty normal. We're just going to cut this end, flip it, cut the other end, and then I'll just take that outer layer off and we're ready to go. That could probably go right down the hole in the big chute of the Breville. As for the cilantro, we're going to use the S-Blade for that, and I've got a nice bag of cilantro all rinsed and ready to go, so we'll get to that. Okay, let's make pico and see how this goes. I think it's going to go very well. So there are 2 ways that you can do this. You could do all of the individual ingredients separately and then mix them together in another bowl, or you could try to make one bowl of pico all in one place. So to do that, I would start with the S-Blade attachment, and we might do the cilantro first, and then you could switch to the dicer for the rest of it and then be left with all one bowl of pico stuff. Let's start with cilantro regardless and see how it goes. You could also do the cilantro and you could do garlic. I didn't get fresh garlic, so I'm just going to use my cheater minced garlic anyway. But you could do the garlic and the cilantro together in the small bowl with the mini S-Blade, and then you could add it to your big batch of pico that you're throwing together. I'm just going to throw in like a couple. This is quite a lot of cilantro. Let's see how it goes. And I'll just kind of pulse it. And there you have it, really nice chopped cilantro. It didn't like liquefy it or overdo it at all, so this came out really nicely. Now, because you can see now if I pull the blade out, there's lots of space. I could put my dicer in there and just leave the cilantro in and just do the whole thing in one bowl, no problem. I'm gonna go straight to the jalapenos, so we're gonna do the smaller of the dicers. This is the 8mm, and we'll see what happens. I'm gonna do the jalapeno and the onion with this small one. So I'm gonna put my, they call it the geared spindle, and that's gonna go right in here. I'll leave the cilantro right where it is. And then I've got this little guy here is just to move everything around as you're dicing. It'll sort of spread it out evenly so it doesn't drop all into one spot in the bowl. Then my dicer goes in, and then the slicer goes on top of that, and we are ready. And all I'm going to do is turn this thing on, and I'm going to drop these jalapenos down in, and we'll see how it goes. And you can see here that at the end of each batch, you're left with a few slices of food that, in this case the jalapeno, that is sitting right above the dicer that didn't get pushed through. So you're actually going to take the big plunger out of your lid, and this attachment, this is, they call it like the cleaning disc, goes right on here, and you're actually just going to push down and push these leftover pieces of jalapeno right through. So you're not wasting any. This thing just pushes that last layer through into the bowl, and you're all set. And now let's see what it looks like. Oh, those are like perfect diced jalapeno. I love the size. You can see it's nice and small. This is perfect. Now I'm gonna put the same size on. I want my onion nice and small as well. So I'm gonna go with the very same size for the onion. Now you got a couple options for the onion, because the onion's gonna be too big to go through this. I'd have to take this all the way out and send the onion in through here like that, which I could do, but because there's a lot of space, it may not slice as well. We're gonna try it though. But the other option that I'll show you is to take your onion and half it and then send that down the smaller chute, or the middle-sized chute, I guess it is. So first I have just the half onion. That went down perfectly. And now I'll show you what's up if I take the whole onion and put it down the big chute. It took it just fine, so I think we're in good shape. So we had a couple of little stray slices that didn't go through, no big deal, because we're gonna be doing a big batch, right? So a couple little pieces don't matter. And now let's see how the onion came out. Oh, look at that, just diced perfectly. It's beautiful. Couldn't ask for anything better for PICO. I think I want to go with this one here for our tomatoes, a little bit bigger chunks than say this tiny one like we did the jalapeno and the onion. So that's going to sit right in here, the slicer on top, and away we go. Okay, so I was telling you I've got the tomato that I've cored and the tomato that I've just taken the top off, where it had the stem, and we're going to do both and we're going to see what we like. So let me first get the machine going, and I'm going to put down this long meaty piece. I'm going to sort of curl it around like it was a whole tomato, and I'm just going to go right down the small shoot with it. Let's see what happens. It's definitely more work to core them, but it's just a matter of whether you want it wetter or drier in your finished PICO. And we can see that diced up tomato is beautiful, just like we would love it for PICO. Let's try it now with the core in. And these are the perfect size to send down the middle size shoot, so let's do it. Clean this up a bit. And let's see what it's like. Well, it looks pretty nice. I mean, you can see that it's a bit wetter, but this is beautiful. I mean, this is just fine. I think if I was gonna use this machine to make PICO, I just would try not coring out the tomatoes and trying this out and seeing if it's the consistency that I like. And I think that it will be. I'm not going to be that picky because I'm trying to use a machine to save time to begin with. As you can see here, my bowl is getting a bit full. I could obviously have portioned out my ingredients just right so that I'd made one perfect bowl of PICO, and then all I'd have to do to this right now is add the garlic and the lime and then stir it around and you're done. But I need a lot more tomatoes because I put quite a bit of onion and I put quite a few jalapenos. So I'm going to need a lot more tomato than I've got. So I'm going to dump this bowl into a bigger bowl and where we'll combine everything at the end. And I can pull this shaft right out of it, and everything is just nice and in this bowl, and I can just dump, get myself a spatula, and I'll get the rest of the cilantro out. And here's a little view of what we've got so far. Look at everything is just beautifully diced. Obviously we need a lot more tomato, but man, the pieces and the size and the consistency, it's just totally gorgeous. I love it. So I'm going to prep the rest of these tomatoes now that I've decided exactly how I want to do it for this batch of PICO. And all I'm going to do is take this top off, and this is going to get wasted. And before, you remember when I chop PICO, I'll take the tops and I'll dice them up, right? Well, with this version, you can still do that, of course, if you want to save your tops and dice them up. But I'm just going to say we're making a big batch. That little bit is going to get wasted, and we're just going to use this part of the tomato that we've lobbed the top off. And that's going to be it. Boom. Fast as possible. All right, let's do this. We got our dicer, the slicer on top of that, put our lid on, and we're ready to go. You don't really even have to push, just barely. It pretty much sends it down for you. How fast is this? Amazing. That was a full bowl. Clean it up. And now you can see it is definitely wetter because the core of the tomato is in, but it's not so wet that it's going to make bad PICO. Like, this is amazing. This is beautiful. Beautiful sized pieces, just like I like them. I'm going to be very happy with that. Let's pour it in the bowl and mix. So I'll just take it off and we're just going to pour it in. And you can pull this centerpiece out and then just dump. And how many tomatoes did I just do? Like 20 plus tomatoes in seconds. All right, let's give this a mix. See how it came out. Like, it is definitely a wetter PICO, but man, it is nice. All right, we need some garlic, so I'm going to do a couple nice spoonfuls of garlic, several tablespoons worth. And now I'm just gonna chop these limes in half and get them ready for the squeezer. And I'll squeeze in these limes. I'm doing like, for a batch this size, I'm doing at least 4, 5, 6 limes, something in there. All right, let's see what we got. So good. And that's it. Look at how perfect that PICO is. Definitely the fastest batch of PICO I have ever made. It's a bit wetter than normal, but it's more like a salsa, which we use it as a sauce anyway. So I think that this is just great. I love it. My favorite thing to do with PICO is put it all over my beans. So I'll just heat up 2 cans of beans and with some spices, maybe some cumin or something, or even curry or something like that. And then just put a big spoonful of PICO right on top. I love it with plain steamed potatoes too, just potatoes with PICO all over. You could do potatoes, the cheese sauce, and then PICO on top of that. It's really, really good. You can put PICO on everything. You can put it on a bed of lettuce and eat it just like a salad. There you have it. I made 4.5 quarts of PICO in minutes. That was pretty impressive. Definitely the fastest batch I've ever made. I will keep using this machine in other videos. I am not sponsored by Breville. They don't even know I exist. But I like this machine. I've enjoyed using it, and I want to show you something that I think will save you a lot of time for your big batch food prep because it applies so well to our way of eating. So with that, click this playlist here and you can check out my other healthy vegan recipe videos. You can also click this link and get hold of your own dry, vegan, SOS-free cheese sauce mix where you just add boiling water and you've got ready cheese sauce in seconds. And the mushroom gravy is coming soon. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.